Now, one of the things we've covered in a video before when talking about shooting into different target butts is how if you get a quality target butt, generally the easier they are to pull the arrows out, usually the less time they'll last. The ones that are a bit harder when you shoot them initially will last a bit longer because the foam's a bit more dense. Now, there's a couple of ways you can get around this to actually make it easier to remove your arrows from the target. We shoot into carpet targets here, so they're not that hard to pull out, but a really common product we sell here is called Arrow Snot. So Arrow Snot's made by 3006. It's basically an arrow lubricant. There's a whole bunch of different ones out there. Scorpion Venom's another brand. We generally stock the Arrow Snot because we find it works the same as Scorpion Venom, but you get quite a bit more in the one bottle. Like this will last you for ages. People out there that use soap, WD-40, like a whole bunch of random lubricants and stuff like that. This is really good. You can keep it in your car, keep it in your quiver, and it's there when you need it. Especially as a tournament archer where you're rocking up to shoots and you might be shooting into Stramit or you might be shooting into really high density foam and you don't want to spend the whole day if you're pulling 160 arrows out of a target, ending up with blisters and sore hands so you haven't lubed your arrows. So I'm going to shoot one of these into the target with no lubricant on it. I'm going to shoot the second one with Arrow Snot applied, just so you can see the difference from removing them from the target. Right, so now all we do is we take our arrow, take our arrow lubricant, take the lid off the top, and then we're just going to wipe it down at the front of our arrow, like so. Main thing with arrow lube is never get it on your fingers or get it on your riser because it is a nightmare to try and get it off again. You will find as well if you're shooting like a little small portable foam target like a BCE Field Cube or a Reinhardt or something like that, as you shoot arrows with lube on them, you actually kind of lubricate the target after a while as well, so it'll get easier to remove your arrows as you go. So we'll just put this one in there with the Arrow Snot. Right. So, to remove those from the target, see with our first one that just now quite a way, so that had no arrow lube. Some with lube. Yeah, just came straight out. So it's not as easy to see on these targets because carpet's fairly easy to pull your arrows out of anyway. But like I said, you'll notice that if you're in a competition and they've got old Stramit targets or you're shooting into high density foam, or you've got one of those portable targets like a BCE Field Cube or a Reinhardt, or a lot of the 3D targets like the rabbits and the deer and stuff like that as well. So that is the Arrow Snot by 3006. The other thing you can use that's another economical way is an arrow puller. So this is a Flex 2.0 arrow puller. It's got one side for fat arrows, one side for skinny arrows. You basically just use it to give you grip when you're pulling your arrows out of the target. That way you're not going to end up with calluses on your hands, you're not going to have blisters. And if you use these two things, I think it's more beneficial to have a target that's harder to remove your arrows from at the start. Use the arrow lubricant, use the arrow puller for the first couple of shoots. Then once your target's got enough arrow lube in it, it's got enough holes in the target, it's going to be easier, and you'll have a target that lasts longer as well. So the Arrow Snot and the arrow pullers are both available at elizararchery.com.